I watched Pro Wrestling News 141 Elite Encounters. And here's the thing. This card had something going for itself. It had 6 matches, all looking solid to really good on paper. But the one thing that hurt this show, even with 6 matches, time. The old adage of not managing time properly. Did they have to go home on certain matches for whatever reason? I don't know. But as a viewer, I wasn't satisfied with how the majority of these matches fell short of what could have been. So in this video, I'll go over all the matches. And you can watch for a pattern of how often not only the time constraints hurt this show, but also some questionable booking as well on top of it. And speaking of questionable, that brings us to a match that was really good, but it could have been great if not for said booking. Nyla Rose versus Rhio for the Eve title had something special going on early. They did some solid work that was actually connecting. However, somewhere along the way, someone thought the match needed more when it didn't. Ref bumps, weapon usage, it was all just unnecessary. Now here's the thing. For me at least, the work itself was doing the job. I end up giving this 3.5 stars, but bro, all the overbooked stuff just wasn't needed here. I felt that hurt the match a lot here. Now on the flip side, there was a match on this show that did the exact opposite here. It used everything against it and turned into an advantage. Willow Nightingale versus Lucy Sky took a while to get going here. But eventually, with the time that they had, they used it to their advantage. It was built gradually and things escalated methodically. And by the end, it turned what could have been a slow, dull match into something that worked at 3.25 stars. Now, even though that match made time work in their favor, there was another match that had a solid foundation, but it was underutilized. Holly Barlow, Lana Austin, Sky Smithson, and Violet Knight against Abby Cartwright, Nina Samuels, and Pretty Psycho of Amira Blair and Zoe Lucas had decent time. But the problem was they got the time, but didn't really do much with it beyond just the basics. I gave this one just 2.75 stars. It just existed. Nothing bad, nothing horrible, but this didn't grab you or escalate into something that could have materialized into something more. But at least this had time. Half of this show struggled with time. The She Won tournament officially started on this show with 2 matches. Alexis Falcon versus Melissa Fierce and Danny Moe versus Sapphire Reed. Both matches I rated 2.25 stars. Now the latter of these two had better escalation and intensity than the former. But in the end, I wish both these matches had more time to fester itself, especially for this tournament. But the biggest culprit of time, for me at least, was the Eve International Title 4-Way with Chris Statlander, Alex Windsor, you, and Anita Vaughn. This was solid stuff, but on paper, this should have been way more instead of just 2.75 stars. The pattern here was obvious. And to make this even more crazy, these 3 matches were the first 3 matches on the show. So to say the mindset as a viewer watching half this card was pretty much being hurt by time management, and it set a negative tone for the second half, hoping that it would recover here. And unfortunately, it didn't. So what have we learned here? Eve 141 was undermined by time management in the first half, and the second half was a bit hamstrung by some booking. Not a good combination, but there were some bright spots in that second half, but in the end it wasn't enough to save this show. This gets a 6.5 out of 10. A very subpar show. Not recommended.